So now we are at the time in our edit where we're ready to drop in our musical track, or at least, yeah, search for a few potential choices, choose those, and then find which one fits the best. So let's hop over here to the screen cap. I'm already on Epidemic Sound, and I'm gonna be looking through a few just so you can kind of see the process I do of kind of quickly going through a lot of tracks in a shorter amount of time, because finding the right track for a video can take a lot of time and you really want to maximize what you're doing. So let's go ahead and go to the moods here and let's see if there's anything interesting under epic. It might get too epic, but let's see. So there's always going to be an intro for songs, and you can see the intro kind of ends right there. Okay, so now we have a beat here, and there's going to be a build and a drop somewhere around here. So we're just going to skip ahead. That's actually a pretty cool track. So I'm going to download, go to the next. Just by the look of this track, I can tell it already doesn't have enough of a beat. You can tell this is all instrumentals with no actual spikes in the waveform that show a beat. So this is going to be a more ambient, atmospheric track. That's not what we're looking for. Too much Kings of Leon. Again, too much Kings of Leon. So you can see intro, the track starts here, there's a build here, and there's a drop right here. So I'm going to skip ahead. That's cool. A little too dubsteppy. Again, too dubsteppy. But what I want you to really take away from this is how to analyze the waveform of your music. So as an editor, you can quickly navigate through it and find what you're wanting. So I can tell here that this is like the chunk main part of the song, and it's going to have a low, relaxed vibe here, and it's going to have the beat come back in here. It kind of chills out here, and then there's a drop here. So let's see how correct I am. The excitement is going to end right around here. Okay, exactly. And it goes into a more calm, laid back part. And the beat is going to come back in right here. Okay. And then this is going to go on, and there's going to be a build that starts right around here. Okay. And then there's going to be the drop right here. So that kind of analyzing waveforms of music really goes across a lot of genres that you will be using. And that's a really clear way. You want to be able to really be able to see. I just said be able, like this dubstep, this got me a little turd. So yeah, end of the day, the purpose of this is to really be able to quickly look at a waveform and analyze if it's going to be the proper track, or quickly see which part you want to use. The video that we're currently working on, there's really no intro or anything like that. It goes straight into the content. Let's look at a few more tracks and see if we find anything interesting. Okay, perfect. I love the style of that track. So let's go ahead and take the other one we got from Epidemic. We'll put this into the music folder that we created at the beginning of this edit inside of our project files. And now let's bring this music folder into our actual editing project. And now what we're going to do is double click either one of these tracks. I'm going to do this little squiggly, I don't know what the heck this key is called, but it's going to enlarge the top left window. And we're going to skip forward here. And I'm going to make an endpoint right there. So what I did is I created an endpoint by hitting I, right on this drop, okay? And I'm just going to create another out point there. And I'm going to drag it down so that before we start refining or before we really start diving deeper into this edit, I want to first put our two possible soundtracks below our footage to see which one matches up the best. So let's do the same thing for the second track here. Okay. I'm going to put an in point right there. And I just put a marker by hitting M on the drop. That's another way to kind of mark things. Gonna go here, hit an out point, hit the squiggly to get rid of the big screen, drag over the sound icon to drag the clip into our timeline. And now what we can do is we have both of our tracks really rough, not synced up yet to our footage, but we can mute one of our tracks so that we can now play our rough edit and see what it looks like. Okay, cool. Sounds good. That's a cool song. I think it sounds pretty good with the footage. I'm not super in love with it. Of course, we're gonna sync everything up to the striking points and the beat of the track. But let's now listen to our other option. Okay, I can already tell. I got the feeling in the body. So that's something that you want to be looking out for when you're going through your content is what is that thing that's creating a resonance in you as you're absorbing the information from your edit. So the audio and the video is speaking to you, and as soon as there's that resonant match between the two things, you're gonna feel it in the body. There's gonna be some excitement in this scenario, there's excitement because that's the type of music and footage. In more of a maybe heartfelt video that you might be working on in the future, or something that's a little bit more on the creative side, artistic side, whatever the emotion that you're trying to draw from your audience, you're going to feel that sink in. So it's not just happening here. You really want to feel your edits in the body as a response of something that is lighting something up inside of you. So we definitely want to move forward with this second option here. The next step would be to go ahead and get rid of this extra track that we don't need. And now we're going to lock down our musical track to keep it in place. That way we can cut and move around all of our video footage without accidentally cutting or changing the musical track, which doesn't need to be changed or edited in any way. So now we're going to get into some more, a little bit more slightly complex video editing techniques where we're going to be doing time remapping, we're going to be speeding up clips, and we're going to be doing faster cutting style and using different shot choices. And then once we do that, we're going to stylize our footage, stabilize the shots that need to be stabilized, and get a really cool looking edit. So you should now have your footage selected and organized. You should have your music picked out and queued up, and you should be ready to start syncing up the cuts and the pacing of your footage to your track. All right, so let's start by first speeding up some of the extra space that we have here in our first shot, because I like this first part where we can see the light changing on the camera. We can see him pulling out the actual camera. And then we kind of want to skip forward to get to this transition between this shot and then cutting to the next shot. So what I'm going to do here is show you two ways to time remap your content or your footage for any of your projects to really kind of, yeah, do a cool effect where you speed things up. So the first option, which is kind of the more basic style, is to choose where you want your cuts to be. So I'm going to play, and then right here on beat, I'm going to create a cut, and then I'm going to scrub forward. And right as he's opening the whatever that thing is called. I'm gonna make another cut. Okay, so we have one clip is now cut into 3 clips. On this center clip, the part I want to speed up, what I'm gonna do is right click that center clip, and I'm gonna choose the speed and duration function. Okay, this is gonna allow for me to take the clip that's playing at 100% speed, which is normal speed. If I do 90, that's 10% slower. If I do 110, that's 10% faster. Okay, we're gonna speed this way up because we want this to be a really cool, quick motion. So let's try 3000%. And now we have this empty space that got created. So what we need to do is select our clips and drag everything over, or right click our empty space and hit ripple delete. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is move the rest of these clips to this first big hit because we know we want the edit to start there. We're following what the music is telling us to do in this situation. So this space here, we want to fill with this intro shot, okay? So what we're going to do is kind of scoot things around a little bit. So we know that we want this clip to end. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to scoot this over, and add a little bit more of an intro time into this clip. And let's see what that does. Oops. Okay, so that actually is flowing pretty dang nicely right out of the gate. What we're doing is making sure we have some continuity. We're breaking a lot of continuity here by skipping forward ahead in time, different shot types facing different ways. So we're not too worried about continuity, but what we do want to create is cutting on action, which is a form of continuity. So the action of him opening whatever this thing is called, the battery door, we're cutting into that smooth movement of him doing that same motion in the next shot. Okay, so let's see that again. Okay, looking pretty good. That is option number 1. Now I want to show you option number 2. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this intro shot, and I'm going to go to where we want to cut it as if we were starting from scratch with this original shot. And I'm going to highlight that clip, right click it, and go to show clip keyframes. Then instead of it showing the opacity, which is what it's currently doing, so right now this selector is changing the opacity level. 0 opacity is how much you can see it. Opacity is another word for transparency or opaqueness. It's the same thing. So 0 transparency, it's not there. Or 100%. You know what I'm trying to say here, okay? Well, we're in this situation, we're not going to be messing with the opacity. We want it to show the keyframes for time remapping, which is really similar to this process of cutting it into 3 individual clips, but we're going to be able to do the time speed changes in a more gradual way, similar to when we made those audio crossfades of it went smoothly from 100 down to 0. We're going to now go from 100 speed up to 3000 back down to 100 with slopes. So it'll be slightly different, but if you can imagine a clip being 100% going into a cut of 1000 and going into a cut of 100, it's boom, 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 boom. What we're going to create is boom, shoo, shoo. I love my sound effects. So let's scrub forward here and let's create a keyframe. I'm going to hit P for the pen tool. Okay, that just created a keyframe for the speed and duration of our clip. I'm then going to go to where I want this speed change to stop. Right as he's opening that camera latch, I'm going to create another keyframe. And now, instead of cutting our clip into 3, we have 1 clip with the speed function changed. What I'm going to do is take the area of the clip between our 2 keyframes that we just created, and I'm going to scoot it up. And as you can see, the percentage of speed is increasing from 100. It's at 204%, 300%, up and up and up. And I'm going to keep going until we hit, let's see how it looks at 2000. And what that just did was it shortened our clip, because what was at 100% playing for a long time now is playing at 2000% very short, only on this middle portion of the clip. So what that looks like is basically what we had done here. So no big difference yet. But the extra step is when we zoom in and we change our slope of increase between 100% speed to 2000%. So it's going to slowly climb and be more of a gradual change in speed. So it's not a too quick of a stutter. So I'm going to gradually increase it and gradually decrease it. You can see it's more of a gradual time change. This compared to this. You can see there's a little extra, so I'll play that again. The original first way we did it, more choppy. And then the newer way with more of a smooth transition. So really subtle, but you can see there's more of a gradual change, which can create more smooth looking edits. So do you want more of a punchy style that looks a little bit more fake in some ways or edited in some ways? Or do you want more of a smooth style that can look a little bit more organic? Both are doing the same thing. We're speeding up our content to get more information in a shorter amount of time, but one has a bit of it more. But I personally prefer the aesthetic of the second option, which takes a little bit more time, but I think it's worth it. So let's keep moving here in our edit. We're going to do another kind of cool ninja trick here with our time remapping function. So I'm going to right click this clip and I'm going to bring up again the time remapping function, and I'm going to remap the beginning of this clip. Let's add a keyframe about right there, and let's speed up the beginning of the clip. So I'm even going to push it up a little bit more just to get that extra push through that first frame and kind of give the shot a little extra sauce. Okay, cool. I feel like now it rides the beat a little bit better. You see how it gives the throwdown right there? Just a little bit more of a whippiness that we want for this specific scenario. And we're going to listen to the beat to see when the next time we should cut should be. Okay, that's looking pretty good. This cut right here is a little bit late, so I'm going to scoot everything over, hold command, hit the left arrow. I think this point right here, where the song kind of, that will be a good point to end the video. So I'm just going to do a little mini fade at the end there, pen tool. Okay. It's okay that ends a little bit abruptly. It's kind of one of those more punchy styles of edits. It doesn't really need to be any longer than 15 seconds. So let's see what we can fit in that time frame. And the higher the frequency of cutting that we're doing, the higher the energy is going to feel of the edit. So we're going to even squeeze these things even into a shorter time frame. I want to cut it while that battery is still on its way out of the camera, because that's going to cut really smoothly into this motion. And this is going to be a perfect time to be able to do some skipping forward. This is kind of another aesthetic, artistic decision, same way that we did this time remapping here where we sped the clip up. But for this one specifically, because there's a cool thing that's spinning in frame, I think it'll look cool stylistically to do some jump cuts, jumping forward. If you're doing normal storytelling, you don't want to break continuity and do jump cuts. It can be a little bit not look so good, but when it's done purposefully for a specific look, I think it works. So let's find out where we want to do these cuts to the beat. Okay, right there. And there's something I want to share here. So let's change the color of this clip so we know what we're focusing on. Let's make this perps, okay? And since I want to do these jump cuts, I'm going to show you two ways to do it. The first way is a normal way, and the second way, the upgraded ninja way, okay? I think that's going to be the phrase that we're going to start using throughout this course. So I'm going to choose where I want to cut, and we can go and we can select our clip, let the track play, and hit the marker or the M key to create markers of where we know the beat is and where we want to make the cuts. So let's see what that looks like when I do that. So where these four markers are, that is where a cut can be that's riding the beat. So now we can make these cuts. And I'm going to duplicate this clip so that I can show you the two different ways we can go about making these jump cuts moving forward in time. So I'm going to hold Alt, drag my clip up, and now we have a new clip we can work with. So on this first beat where we want to make our cut, we can make a cut and then make another cut and drag our clip across to create this first jump cut. Okay, and we can go to the next one, create a cut, and skip forward a little bit more and see what that looks like. Okay. And I'm thinking that that'll be perfect timing. Perfect to go into the blue clip here. So that is option one. You click, drag. I want to show you a shortcut that's going to save you some time when you're doing that. So we're going to create another clip. And I'm gonna do a cut again like I did before, but instead of making a cut, clicking, dragging, what I'm gonna use on this clip is the slip tool. And the slip tool is essentially letting you leave that clip in the same physical place, but you're scrubbing through the clip, changing the time frame that is being used in that clip without physically moving it. So it's a lot easier when you have a very complex timeline to not have to like drag and then drag over and potentially mess up other clips. So we're gonna make that cut that we just did. I'm gonna hit W for the slip tool, and then I'm gonna click and drag, and you can see as I'm scrubbing through, what I just did was without moving or dragging this clip physically, what I did was dragged the time frame. So it skips forward, right? It's the same exact process, but a little bit more clean than the way we did it right here. And now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to make a cut. And instead of stretching out this clip, making another cut and dragging it over, what I'm going to do is select the clip, hit Y for the slip tool, and I'm going to click and drag so that we're scrubbing through that clip and skipping ahead in time. I'm going to hit V to get back to my normal arrow tool. Boom. And there we go. Two very quick ways to create a tasteful jump cut.